which the extreme socialists are eager to discuss.
It has the power to unite people that little else does.
The State of Israel wouldn't have existed without the contribution of the students and researchers of the Technion to its economy and defense. If this is true for the first century of the Technion, you can imagine how the second century is going to look like.
It's wonderful to see so many people here for a once in 100 years event of the centenary of the Technion. I found it very, very moving indeed to watch those few videos and to see how much the Technion has contributed towards Israeli life and the life of the planet. So I think before we go any further, a round of applause for Technion. So yeah, my name is Jake Wallace-Simons. I'm the editor of the Jewish Chronicle, the world's oldest Jewish newspaper. And I'm very honoured to be joined by His Excellency.
It's a mutual honor. Mutual honor.
Reuven Rivlin, the 10th President of the State of Israel. I understand you want to say a few words before we start.
That's right. Before starting, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, we are all together one great family all around the world. As the 10th President of Israel, and as the 11th President, the current President of Israel, have said, I'm so very proud to be here marking 100 years of the Technion. Yeah. During one of the most challenging years, in especially meaningless to honor an institution that has given our nation so much. For 100 years, the Technion has been the foundation of Israel energy and its strength. It is many Nobel Prize winners. I think that 4 of them are still living along with us in Israel. 4 holders of the Nobel Prize are being graduates of the Technion. I must say that the graduates have made Israel the startup nation that we are today. Not to mention, when you are talking about start nation, the high-tech nation, not a start-up nation, not to mention the Iron Dome that all over the world people are asking us to come and to let them understand and let them to buy those weapons that can really save nations and states from all over the world. We are doing very well in energy, in agricultural, in medical science. I must say that along with me, because I was operated only a few weeks ago, and I'm still a little bit weak, and because of that, my English is very, very dull, because I cannot think in Hebrew and talk in English. Nevertheless, I'll do my best at the rest of the time. And I would like to say that the professor who came with me, Professor Bagel, Roy Bagel, is a professor, young professor of Tel HaShomer Hospital. Tel HaShomer is one who were chosen as one of the 10 best hospitals in Israel. So, ladies and gentlemen, I salute you for what you are doing for the Technion, because the Technion means everything to science and technology in Israel. Thank you so very much. Now, let's begin and talk, and probably you would say, president is, once a president, is always a president. I can, President Herzog and the rest, can be really very, very quiet about everything that is being done here, because in Israel, there is no way to say that once a president, you are always a president. No, you are.
You're much more a president than all of us. So
Yeah, former president you will do.
So if
But-
I can start, President Griffin, by asking you...
But I would like you to mention that it is possible that once a prime minister in Israel could be always a prime minister. It is possible.
Well, that escalated quickly. But if I could start by asking... I thought this was going to be difficult. If I start by asking you about what's going on, I was thinking back the other day to before October the 7th. It's actually difficult to remember what it was like before October the 7th. But I was thinking back, and I remembered a cartoon that we ran in the Jewish Chronicle, which depicted the Israeli flag with the two triangles of the Magen David separating. And that was a statement, a commentary on what was happening then with the judicial reforms and the protests and the way in which Israeli society seemed to be dividing itself. It felt to me like after October the 7th, the two triangles came back together very powerfully, and then seemed over the months to come apart even further and even more of a toxic way. Now, you famously talked about the four tribes of Israel: the Arabs, the secular Jews, the Haredim, and the religious Zionists. With the benefit of your vast experience, what's your reading of what's going on in Israel now, and how much of the blame can be placed at the Prime Minister's doorstep?
The speech about the four tribes in Israel was made, was said by me in 2015. I tried to warn the people. We said at the time we have right and left, or many people said right and wrong, God forbid, left and wrong, I mean. Or. Nevertheless, we were really seeing that the four tribes that we used to live together, which mean that the four tribes had one country, one state, one nation, we suddenly found ourselves that every one of the tribes feels that the state belongs to him. We have, along with us, 25% according to the statistic report we have 25% at the first degree of school of children from the Haredi side who are learning alone in a different system of education. We have the Israeli Arabs, and Israel is democracy. And the Arabs of Israel, the Israeli Arabs, are citizens of Israel. And they have equal right as private citizens of Israel. Now, one of them, not all of them, really love the idea that Israel is the Jewish state. And they would like to change the idea in order to bring Israel to become a state of all its, of all its citizens, which means not a Jewish state, but Israeli states. There are many Arabs who are singing the anthem of Israel Tikva, the hope, by saying it's not the hope of the Jewish people, but the hope of the Israeli people. So we have to keep Israel and to let everyone know that the slogan that Israel is the only democracy in Israel, in the Middle East, has to be proved every day. And I can assure you, my dear friends, my dear sisters and brothers, Israel would remain democratic state to all its citizens with really the idea of freedom of speech, not freedom of really of the right to the right to להסית, no? No, who will help me in the Hebrew להסית? To say? Oh, yeah. Okay. So these Arabs, the Israeli Arabs, 25%, and they would like to see Israel as the state of all its citizens, not as a Jewish state. And we said to them, the only prerogative that we are ready to take, that we must take to ourselves, is to define Israel as a Jewish state, because it belongs not only to the Israelis, and I'll tell you in a moment why. We have 12 at about 14% of national religious people who are very, very, very involved with the army of Israel. They are the best fighters, they are best generals. I have here the attaché of the Israeli army here in London, and I really am saluting him as a real one of the wonderful pilots that we have. And you know the miracles that our Air Force is doing. And we have now only 38 regular people, or I would say, those people who are really celebrating Bar Mitzvah, going to shul on Yom Kippur, on the Rosh Hashanah, on the Chagim, but they are not keeping all 630 mitzvot. Till 10 years ago, we have lived together 4 tribes in one country that everyone understood, if he was on the right side or on the right side. That it belongs to us, and we are all belong to the country. We can fight each other. We can debate. We can have disputes one with each other, but never, never leave the idea that we have to appreciate the very existence of our country, of our state Israel. 10 years ago, anti-Semitism and the waves of anti-Semitism was coming once again, as it comes from time to time all over the world, whether we are talking about the eastern side of the world or in the free world, in England and in the United States, in France, even in Italy. I must say that we suddenly found ourselves in a position that we felt that we have another tribe. And the 5th tribe of Israel is the people who live in the diaspora, the Jewish people in the diaspora. We are responsible one for each other. Israel arevim זה לזה. We are really redeemed one to each other. We have to everyone has to fight and to do everything in order to help the other side. Now we are finding ourselves in a position that I hope that we could get into the idea that we have to change it immediately, that the state belongs to the tribe and not the tribe belong to the state. And we have sectorial tribes in Israel that bring about the Magen David from time to time to depart one from each other. I really believe that the only miracle that keeps Israel in the region and brings Israel to become a leading power in the, not only from military point of view, but also from social point of view, from the idea of education. We were one of the best places to learn. Now it goes down and down because we have more people from the Haredic side who really wants to learn only what belongs to Judaism, pure Judaism, not new Judaism. And because of that, we have to do and to do really something that would let everyone know in Israel that it is impossible to run the state of Israel once we are not united in the idea that we all need the state. The state don't need us, we need you, the tribes say. And unfortunately now, because of what have happened on October the 7th, is something that bringing people to think differently from time to time. Many people on the left really think now that there is no possibility to live along with our people, our cousins. And many people from the right side believe maybe that the possibility of the Palestinian Authority is the best solution for the time being, for the next 10 years, without defining two states for two people, because Israel would never give up her ability to really protect itself by giving any kind of entity to be allowed to bring people from outside to the borders and to the boundaries of Jerusalem, for example.
And if I can just extend from that into politics, if you had an hour to spend with the Prime Minister of Israel, what advice would you give him with a view to the fracturing of Israeli society and what he could do to bring it together?
I've talked to the Prime Minister of Israel, and I talked to him, he knows exactly what I've said to him. Please ask him to come here, and he will probably tell you what I've told him.
And what did you say? Can you give us, if you could tell us what you said, what would you tell us?
I really believe, first of all, that the strategy is before any tactics. Iron Dome is very important. Our Air Force is really something that it is really to write home about by anyone. But of course you have to have strategy. And you have to have strategy. And I know that Churchill, I'm going to get a prize under the name of Churchill. Probably the Prime Minister will ask me to get the prize that I will get from you. But he really forgotten that Churchill fought armies of nations, of the Nazi nations, of Austria, of Italy. And he won the battle. We are winning battles against people who are not freedom fighters, who are not really seeking to get a Palestinian state. They don't want a Palestinian state. The only thing that they want is to get rid of Israel, to bring Israel to an end, that Israel should not exist again. And that is something that cannot be fought or cannot be really stopped without a strategy. And the strategy is what will happen after we will find out. Because most of the Israelis already found out that probably we have finished the problem with the forces of the terrorists named by Hamas. That we dealt with the Hezbollah, that they are terrorists, the messengers of the Iranian people. Those are from the Sunni side, those are from the Shia side, and both of them are united only when it's Israel. We can live together. The pan-Islamism being spread all over, and only these days we see what is happening in Syria. I really believe that we have to get into the idea that most of the nations surrounding us, if they are talking about the Emirates, if we are talking about Egypt, we have really strategical cooperation with Egypt. We have strategical cooperation with the king of Jordan, with the Hashemite kingdom, but we don't have a lot of friendship with the people of Jordan. We have to really find out what we are doing after we got rid of those two gangsters organizations, the Hezbollah and the Hamas. Unfortunately, the government are not paying a lot of attention because they have to tell us whether England will come back to the Middle East and will remain in Gaza. I suppose not, because I was talking to the Prince of Wales at the time, and the King of today, and I must say that all the time he appreciated Israel very much, and I appreciate very much his attitude against us. But I suppose that he is not ready to really help Israel once he's not seeing that it's concerned with the need of the entire free world, as it happened when we were attacked by Iran, and we stopped it with our efforts and with the American efforts and the British efforts and the French Air Force.
So the answer lies in strategy. And on that note, what do you think is the best way to get the hostages back from Gaza while retaining Israel's security in Gaza?
First of all, I have to admit, we have a lot of difficulties because of the Hamas people. They are refusal. They don't want any kind of connections with us unless we are going to stop the war and to withdraw from Gaza. In Israel, there is a dispute between the government and more than 70% of the population of Israel, who says that the mutual guarantee, what we call from the Talmud, the greatest value of Israel is Pidyon Shvuim, which means the redeem of hostages. And 70% are ready to say to the Hamas people, okay, we are ready to get almost everything that you demand in order to return the hostages. Unfortunately, at the time that the commander was alive until we got rid of him, I really believe that maybe in these days it could happen. I'm saying that there are also political needs that are being involved in the policy of the parties in Israel and in the Knesset. People, you have to understand, we had at the time, we have no constitution. In Israel, we have no constitution, but we had the Supreme Court. We have inherited from the British mandate the common law, not the British common law. We have really developed an Israeli common law that brought the Supreme Court to be the people who are holding and protecting the right of minorities and the right of of every civilian in Israel, the right of the human being in Israel. And we are wondering just now what is moving the government. And there are debates, I suppose, that it will come to an end because unfortunately we are fighting, but now we are fighting, we are chasing after terrorists 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 or even 20 to 20. The war, the struggle with the bandits, with the terrorists is already behind us. And we have to get into understanding that once upon a time, when there was a disaster, like it happened on the 7th of October, on the 6th of October. I'm also wrong as the Prime Minister. I'm imitating the Prime Minister of the 7th of October. We have, of course, to build up a committee that will investigate what is going on. Because I have to admit, I'm a son of a professor. Unfortunately, I'm a lawyer. I'm not a professor. I was the Speaker of the Knesset. I was the President of Israel. I was a member of the cabinet. I've been a lieutenant colonel in the Israeli army in the reserves. I went along with Arik Sharon in Battalion 143 when we have entered Egypt and passed the canal. But I must say that we are in a sort of times that we are not getting decisions, and we must get decisions. We know very well, and I know very well, as my father taught me, because my father was a professor in the Hebrew University, and he was a professor to Arabic, and he was the one who translated the Quran from Arabic to Hebrew, and it was translated from Hebrew by my father into English and into German. And I must say, only in order to end my thoughts, we, the Arabs, all the Arab nation around us, we are not doomed to live together. The Israeli Arabs and the Israeli Jews, we are not doomed to live together. Our destiny is to live together. We cannot transfer them, and they cannot kick us out because we have no other where to go. So if we are not doomed to live together, let's learn to live together. And I really think that the idea of Abraham Accords and the Abraham contact that was made by President, he's not the president, the future president of the United States and the former president of the United States must be really a sign of a new era in the Middle East.
If I can just ask you, we're running out of... running out of time a little bit, so one just final thing I wanted to ask you, Mr. Ripon, before we finish, is your feeling about Britain, the current government's position on Israel. We've seen various signs of support, ranging from the Prime Minister being quite strong in stamping out anti-Semitism within the Labour Party, all the way through to giving his support to Israel's right of self-defense. But then we've seen the other side as well of arms embargoes to Israel and voting recently at the UN for a ceasefire without the condition of releasing hostages. What's your feeling about UK-Israel relations right now, if you will, within just a few minutes?
First of all, you have seen that Great Britain really believes that Israel is a must in the Middle East because it's protecting the whole free world from a danger of a pan-Islamism that is growing and growing every day now. Also, the Russians are in Latakia. The relationship between us and the Queen Elizabeth was a little bit difficult because she still really thought that every one of us is either a terrorist or a son of a terrorist that thought the mandate. But I must say...
Wait. Queen Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Hang on. Queen Elizabeth thought that every Israeli was either a terrorist or a son of a terrorist? Is that what you're saying? Did she say
Queen
that?
Elizabeth treated Israel as people who did wrong to the mandate, to Great Britain.
Was that from a conversation you had with her, or was that...
I wanted to meet her many times. I met the Prince of Wales at the time, the King, and he was so friendly.
What gave you the impression that she saw Israelis in that way?
Because she refused to really to accept any one of the officials of Israel at the palace, only on international days or international occasions.
Okay, all right.
No, but I appreciate it because I was born before Elizabeth became a queen. She was the son of King George. I was many years living on the street of King George VI. So I have a lot of relationship. I love London. I love London, and I love more the football of London and the football of Liverpool.
Well, perhaps that's a good positive note on which to conclude this conversation. Mr. Rivlin, thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening.
Thank you so very much.
It is a great honour for the Technion to be associated with a great man, a great speaker, a great president, a unifier, a peacemaker, a very wonderful man who embodies all that is best of Israel. Thank you for accepting this.
Thank you.
The Churchill Award goes to Ruben Rivlin.
It is a real privilege that I get Churchill before the Prime Minister.